Okay, so now, tour of the lair.
Sure.
If I can call it that. But whilst we're walking, maybe you can tell me, what basically sets you as an architect apart from, say, all the other architects around right now.
That will require another whole interview.
Wow.
Because there's a lot I could talk about. So let me take you through the studios. This part of the office we normally don't allow outsiders to come through.
Right.
So we're going to have to kill you after we finish this interview.
It's nice knowing one of you.
But this part is a really exciting part of the office, and this is where we do a lot of our three-dimensional presentation materials. A lot of the graphic work is done here. So the images that you see here, for example, this is a studio for Ibrahim Hussein, the late artist.
The artist, yes.
His wife is going to be building a gallery in his memory in Kampung Baru. And you can see some towers that will be coming up around KLCC. This group here are very important to us because they create the imagery that we seduce our clients with. So, for example, over here, what are we working on? Oh, this is the Putrajaya Auto City. This is an example of...
Auto City.
Yeah, it's a new project in Putrajaya that will bring all the different marquees under one roof. You can see what we do here. We're creating... It's an early stage model. We're manipulating it to see how we can create the best image of it. And then after that, we'll start to layer it with all the other graphics, people, sky, and landscape to make it look more realistic. Whereas over...
It's very interesting to see that you have medicine balls instead of chairs.
Well, these are really comfortable. You ever tried sitting on those?
They are, I know.
Yeah. So over here, once we get past the first group of studios, we start to get into a little bit more seriousness. So here the drawings get a little bit more technical and maybe less, pretty.
Yeah.
But eventually, when we get past that stage, we've seduced the client, he's bought the idea. Then
so now this is where the real work comes in.
That's when the real work comes in, and there's a lot of technical knowledge that is required to put these things together.
Yeah.
Because you have to work with the engineers, you have to work with the quantity surveyors.
Do you have a house style? Is there a particular way that you always like your buildings to look like?
Well, we like to say that it's not so much a style that binds our work together. It's more a series of values, what we call our core values, which are integrity, design, environment, audacity, and service. And each of these 5 values is manifest in a certain design approach.
Right.
So, for example, integrity. Let's take the first one. Integrity, when it relates to design, is all about truth of materials. So, for example, if we're using timber, we use it in the way that timber should be used, and not as, say, a veneer.
Right.
Okay? Or if we use steel, the steel is expressed and exposed in all its glory. We don't try to hide it. So there's a certain naturalness.
It becomes an element.
Yeah, exactly. Like an element, like the elements in the periodic table. Each one is its own, and it should be expressed as itself. So our other core values, because we have these 5, are also manifest in design. And we have a manifesto that describes how that's done. So when you look at one of our buildings, you might be able to say, that could be a Veritas building. But there are obvious cases where you could look at a building and say, that could not be a Veritas building. It just wouldn't fit.
Yeah.
So that's how I would answer that question. But I'm not really concerned about style on its own.
Right.
So we can see project teams working very hard together. Everything's very collaborative. We have about 4 to 6 architects and technicians working together on different things. And the table in the center, it's a bit of a mess, but it's meant to be a place where people all brainstorm and solve problems together.
And how many such offices do you have?
We have 10 studios like this on this side. We have another 6 on the other side of the building. And, we have similar arrangements in Johor and Penang and other parts.
Right, I see. Well, I was going to say, I think it'll be good to have coffee after this. So
okay.
Let's have a walk outside. But, okay, I want to talk about icons. Who are the people, in the industry that, you feel, deserves, a special mention by yourself? Who are the people that you look up to in terms of design, perhaps?
That's a tough question. I always think about it, and I've never had heroes in design. or those I've had you wouldn't have heard of. There was a very famous French architect in the early 20th century called Le Corbusier, and you're going to see elements of his work around the office. Have you heard that name?
Le Corbusier, yeah.
Well, then I'm impressed.
That one chair that you showed just now did remind me of him a little bit because of the lines.
Actually, you'll see elements of Corbusier around our office, including our logo.
Right, including your logo. Okay, I'd love it for you to explain that to me. But what about, you know, your contemporaries over here right now? Do you have a good working relationship with people like Hijaz Kasturi, perhaps? You know, one of the more.
Well, we have a great relationship with them because most of them are my friends. Yet we are competitors.
Of course, yeah.
So we're friendly competitors. They win, I win. Sometimes they achieve something that I get very jealous about, and I'm sure.
But it's all healthy. It's healthy.
It is healthy.
Yeah, it's healthy competition. Now, the thing with architects, and I know I mentioned this earlier, but you know, for the benefit of the audience, the thing with architects is they seem to like to design chairs, and I believe this is something that you actually designed yourself.
Yeah.
The macaroni.
This is called a macaroni. It's in production. It's being sold by Kian, so I'm doing a bit of plugging for them. You can buy these at Kian. How much are they running, these chairs? 205.
205.
Yeah. And I know there was a little bit of compromise made in terms of comfort to achieve the look. So sometimes we'll say it cuts you a little bit in the back of your leg, but you know, I think for a short-term cafe chair, it's perfectly fine.
You know what? I'll just steal a phrase from fashion.
Yeah.
It's all in the name of beauty. It's all in the name of beauty.
Exactly. That's why they wear these 5-inch high heels, right? Yeah. So these are a successful cafe chair. We have it in different colors: reds, black and white.
It really does look like a macaroni.
Because of these ridges, you see, it's a macaroni ridge. Yeah. We worked. One of our architects her name was Stephanie, and she collaborated with us to create this chair.
Right. Okay. I think it's about time for coffee.
Okay.
What say you? So
good.
We'll be back with coffee, and you know we will delve further into the mind of David Misana Shamsi. Stay with us.